that's the next step for Bake Off. Let's get ready to crumble.
Boom. And on that note, hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Podcast, episode number 15. My name is Gareth Evans, and this is Mr. Henry Cooper.
Hello.
Short and sweet today.
Hard to believe, isn't it? It's me.
It's hard to believe. The Henry Cooper, the one and only. I mean, we're still lining you up for some sort of bout with some opposition at some point. I'm not sure who it's going to be. The Lehman brothers turned you down.
I mean,
the purse wasn't big enough for them.
Well, they're busy getting, hundreds of thousands of views on every video.
Yeah.
So we're below them.
We're not even challengers.
Exactly. We're like the little welter featherweight, and they're off being the heavyweight champs.
Well, there you have it. Episode number 15 of 2019. For those of you who are keeping count. And today we have a few things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the horrible Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer that has just been panned. We're talking about Rocket League and Epic exclusivity, the fact that Epic have just bought Psyonix, which is Rocket League's owners, creators. And also talking about Star Citizen, as well as taking your Discord queues and your YouTube C's. Right? Work that one out. So let's jump straight in without much further ado to the horrible depiction of Sonic the Hedgehog in the new movie trailer.
Nightmare fuel.
Well, I'll be honest, right? For those of you who have seen it or who haven't seen it, Sonic the Hedgehog trailer dropped a couple of days ago. The trailer has 18.5 million views on the official channel. 247,000 upvotes. So a lot of people like it. 250,000 like it. However, 402,000 downvotes.
Yikes!
That's not quite double, but it's 0.4
It sure as hell ain't very good. I don't know, man. This movie.
But what specifically don't they like about it, Henry? When you just enlighten us.
Well, everyone knows Sonic. He's like a cartoony, anthropomorphic hedgehog. And even then, I think hedgehog's a bit of a stretch. You wouldn't know he was a hedgehog unless someone said he's supposed to be a hedgehog. And their version, they've gone for they've lent a bit more on the humanoid side. Like, he's got slightly more human proportions. He's still, like, short and big head and stuff. But he just looks weird.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't decide if they were going realistic or cartoony and landed somewhere awkwardly in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. When I first watched it, I was like, well, this looks like a shit movie. Other than Jim Carrey, who looks pretty damn cool. Back to form, you could say.
Yeah. He's Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. And he looks really weird, and I'm up for that.
That was my initial reaction. But then I looked at some other people's reactions and saw some like artwork online that viewers have posted on Twitter or whatever, and that show what Sonic could have looked like had they have gone more towards the regular Sonic, the Sonic that we know and love. And looking at what they've come up with, it does highlight how weird that the version of Sonic that they've gone for actually is. As in proportions, as in the eyes, as in it just looks weird compared to what it could be, right?
I feel like he's got no character. I mean, obviously this is just from the trailer, so you can't speak to what he's like in the movie, but he doesn't look like he's got any heart or any personality. Because Sonic, he's got big eyes. He's always smiling. He's
like a single eye, but connected in the middle.
Yeah, it's one eye, but with two pupils.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of a
really big eyes. It's a cute thing having big eyes. That's
Japanese
why babies have got good big eyes, right? Yeah. Whereas the one that they've gone for, two separated small eyes that look kind of mean. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and he's got the teeth. I can't even tell you what's weird about them.
The human teeth.
But they're just weird.
That's true.
Well, I think one of the most striking things for me about this is in comparison to the Detective Pikachu movie, which is another video game property being turned into a film. It's, quite child-friendly, and it features cartoony CGI creatures. And that is currently at the first trailer for that is at about 95.5% like to dislike. So people are way more on board with that. The Sonic one is about 38 when last I checked. And that movie, I mean, those trailers have been out for a little while. There's been a much stronger marketing push for it, and they've had several other trailers. It's got Ryan Reynolds attached to it, so that's going to bring in a lot of people.
Of course.
But that movie has so much more heart from the trailers. I mean, I can't speak to the whole film, but they kept the Pokemon pretty authentic to the games and the cartoon, the anime, but they blended that with like this slightly real aspects by giving them like fur and texture and stuff. But this one, it's just missed
way
the
too
mark.
Human, right? It looks way too human. I think that's what the problem is. Like there's a scene where he's doing some stretches and from behind, and you can see it's just a guy in a suit. Yeah. It's just a guy in a suit being made to look like a hedgehog, and it just looks bad. Like
one of my pet peeves when the not concept art, he was like a silhouette. It was some marketing stuff before we officially got a look at him. It was the first sort of look, and he was a silhouette. You couldn't see much of him. It was in darkness. His hands, they're just furry, and I'm like, well, Sonic, he wears gloves. That's like, he just looks weird with furry hands, and his legs, they're blue. This is getting really panicky now. Sonic doesn't have blue legs. The fur of his legs matches the fur of his chest. But it does look odd.
Yeah, it looks odd. I mean, were you going to watch the movie?
Well, that's the thing. I probably wasn't anyway.
Yeah.
But I might have seen it just to check it out and see what it's like. But probably not. I might watch it at some point, if it like a Netflix job. If it comes out on Netflix.
Straight to Netflix movie now.
Straight to Netflix, yeah.
I'm wondering what they think about this reaction, though, because it wouldn't have gone unnoticed. 402,000 downvotes. That's a dislike ratio of 62%, only 38%.
And Paramount have been claiming videos left and right about it, partially because of the song they used. What's it called? Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, has nothing to do with Sonic at all, lyrically whatsoever. It's not like it's a song about being fast and like whatever. It's just
doesn't seem right.
It's just playing on like, oh, people like this song. It's nostalgic. It's from like the 90s. Sonic was big in the 90s.
Let's use that song.
Let's use that.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything redeeming about this trailer? And there's nothing at all that you like about it?
Well, I mean, I like Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey's my man.
Oh yeah,
he's great in everything.
Man, yeah.
So I'd like to see what he does, but I could just like watch the clips on YouTube. Just Jim Carrey, every scene with Jim Carrey in thing. And they have the little bit at the end of the trailer when it shows him in a more traditional Robotnik look.
Getter.
And that's what they always do, because Marvel movies have post-credits scenes in all of them, and they've kind of established that in a lot of comic book movies now. And now the bloody trailers do it as well. You have the actual trailer, and then coming fall 2020, and then an extra clip. Post-credits clips in trailers, and half the time you get a trailer at the beginning of the trailer, which is the ad bit for a YouTube ad for the 5 seconds. A trailer for the trailer you're about to watch, and then a post-trailer clip. Yeah. Jesus Christ, it's
and you
too
get
much.
Teasers for films and the teasers for trailers, and then
a teaser tweet for the teaser trailer for the film that doesn't come out for another 3 years.
Yeah,
it's too much.
It's too much. God damn it.
But the thing is, I don't like the look of it, but to be honest, kids aren't going to care.
No,
this is it. It is a movie for kids. Primarily, that's where they're banking on their money. They have kind of pissed off a lot of the fans, and that's definitely going to hurt them.
Yeah,
but kids aren't going to care.
No, that's a good point, and that's my primary thought. Is this going to be a decent movie to take my kids to go and watch? Because I wouldn't go and watch it for any other reason other than to take my kids. Like, this is Sonic the Hedgehog. They'd be like, Sonic the who? Sonic the what? What the hell is this thing?
Is that old man game or something?
What is this thing? Is it human? Is it a hedgehog? Is it just a guy in a suit? Yeah. I don't know. And funny enough, I wouldn't have any answers for them. No. But the thing is, for me, I think you're dead right. They needed to please the current fans, like the guys mine and your age who can identify with Sonic. They needed to please them as well as get on board the youngsters. The way that they've depicted Sonic in this, obviously they've missed the mark.
Yeah.
And I wonder where. Obviously they're in post-production. I mean, maybe they finished post-production. I don't know when their film comes out. Maybe we should have done some research. However, do you think it's totally unfeasible for them to go back and fix Sonic? Because they still need like a computer-generated thing, isn't they?
Well,
it would take far too long, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't completely redesign him, but they could like change the colours up or something if that was the problem. But
November the 7th is coming.
There you go. It's not very long. It's a few months. How long does it take to make a movie and to change a stupid-looking hedgehog? I don't know. I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah, the movie could be amazing.
By the looks of it, probably not.
Yeah. But, again, when it comes to Detective Pikachu, or when those trailers came out, I was like, oh, Christ, what's this? And I watched it, and I laughed. So I was like, well, there you go. That's a win. Like, if I'm...
Yeah.
I didn't want to like this. I didn't expect to like this, but I did. I think it's funny. So I'm probably going to go see Detective Pikachu.
Really?
Yeah, I might go see it.
There you go.
I like going to the cinema. Good fun.
Yeah, Sonic down, Pikachu
up.
There you go, guys. That's our,
hot take
on the Sonic situation. I'm not fussed either. I mean, I don't like the look of the Pikachu movie, I'll be honest. And the Sonic looks about the same to me. The only redeeming factor, and the thing that gets me most excited, is Jim Carrey, man. I've missed Jim Carrey big time. He's not been that guy. He's not been the Ace Ventura dude for ages.
Get him back on that 1994 to 97 cocaine, and then he'll be back on Liar Liar, Ace Ventura.
Get him back on that coke. Come on, we need to get entertained.
Oh man.
Anyway, on that note, let's move on to our next point of discussion. And what are we talking about next?
Rocket League, in case you don't know, that's the one where your little Matchbox cars playing football, but you've got rockets strapped to your back.
Yeah.
Just for those of you who aren't aware of the massive phenomenon that is Rocket League. It's wildly successful. Loads of people love it. It's quite a big esports thing. Not so much anymore. I think it's quietened down a bit. But people still play it.
It's on all the platforms. It's now on Nintendo Switch, and it's cross-platform, so it's on all the consoles. It's on PCs and Nintendo Switch, and it's cross-platform as well, which is awesome.
Which is fab news. But now it's being review-bombed on Steam for a totally unheard-of reason that we haven't seen multiple times in the last 6 months. And that is because it's going to the Epic Store.
Well, not exactly. What's happened?
Exactly, because there's a big.
There's more to this story, though.
Yeah.
It's not just going exclusive. Now, Epic have bought Psyonix, who are the creators.
They bought the whole
development studio,
so
which is a new, in itself, is quite a notable move because it's new for Epic to buy up a studio like this.
They now own Rocket League.
Yeah,
and own
the IP and own the studio.
So they can do what they want with it.
Yeah.
And the Psyonix people have been really hot on this and being pro what they've done. And I think they've done it really nicely. I can't remember any specific quotes or anything. But they've said how this move gives them extra resources and all that, obviously, extra money. But being with Epic, who have a strong grasp of the esports scene with stuff like Fortnite, this can only help the Rocket League community and kind of brand awareness grow.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that's true.
I think it's a good placement for Rocket League to be on the Epic Store. You think about the install base for the Epic Store, all those Fortnite players. I think Rocket League is a nice kind of relaxed type of game that you want to play with your friends.
Yeah.
A bit like Fortnite, right? So I think that
I think it's got a shared audience.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a good strategy from Epic on Epic's part. However, they came out and the official statement, I'll just read it out. The PC version of Rocket League will come to the Epic Games Store in late 2019. In the meantime, it will continue to be available for purchase on Steam. Thereafter, it will continue to be supported on Steam for all existing purchases. So what they said there, what they were implying there, is that it will be available on Steam up until the point, and then after it will continue to be supported, as in we're implying that it's going to be pulled from Steam, which is what led...
for sale. So if you've currently got it on Steam, you're fine. Nothing to worry about. Still get updates, still get DLC. But if you want to buy it after the end of 2019,
Yeah.
you won't be able to accept on Epic.
That's what it implies, right?
Yes.
And that's what led to the review bombing. And so far, as of the time of recording, since yesterday, we've had almost 2,000 negative reviews bombed on Steam, which is far exceeding what it normally gets. However, they seem to want to damage control a little bit. They've come out and clarified what they meant, and rather than implying that it's not going to be pulled from Steam, they're saying now we are continuing to sell Rocket League on Steam and have not announced plans to stop selling the game there. Well, I mean, they're saying we've not announced it yet, guys.
We haven't.
Relax.
Yeah, stop saying we have. We haven't told you we're doing that yet.
We only implied it.
Yeah.
Don't review bomb it on Steam, you idiots. We only implied it was going to be. We didn't actually officially announce it. Well, we can see through that bullshit, Epic.
Yep.
Basically. And they carry on. Rocket League remains available for new purchases on Steam, and long-term plans will be announced in the future. So we're not announcing it yet. So what's with all the downvotes, guys?
We're not taking it yet. We'll take it later.
Yeah. Don't destroy the IP that we've just purchased.
Yeah.
Don't destroy the reputation of this game that we've paid a lot of money for. Damn it.
Now, just to be clear, the deal hasn't fully, completely gone through yet. They're still doing the finer details, but bar like an act of God or something, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it will be all signed through. So Epic own Rocket League. It is now an Epic game.
Epic game.
An Epic game.
There you go.
So I don't really see what the big deal is with this one, because we've been quite, I wouldn't even say pro Epic, just less,
a bit more accepting of how Epic's strategy than most.
Yeah, a lot of people will say we're Epic shills, and I mean, if you want to send me free games, I'm totally down for that. But
I mean, getting by is tough. Those free games, they come in handy.
I mean, they're great. But when it comes to this, if you're already a Steam player, you're not losing your game. They're not taking it away from you. Mm-hmm. They're not taking away your means to play with future players either, because you've still got all of the console players through crossplay and the Epic launched versions.
Yeah.
So you're not really losing anything. The only people this would bother would be people who were about to buy it on Steam but didn't.
Yes.
But you can still do that because they've not taken it away yet.
Very true.
So I really don't see what the big deal is.
They're taking away our freedom. They're taking away our liberty. They're taking away the American way of life, right?
Well, you can still play it on Steam if you already own it. And if you're worried about using the Epic launcher, you don't have to, because you still have the game. Or if you don't, you can buy it before the end of 2019.
Yeah.
So you've still got plenty of time.
At this point, it's just people reacting because it's not their team, right? Steam, that's my team. I'm on Steam's side, right? We're drawing the battle lines. We're at war. Epic makes another move. We're going to downvote that shit. We're going to make our voices heard, because at this point they're troops for the Epic, for the Steam war that's going on. Like you said, I don't see any negative effects that this could have on people. Maybe we're being naive or a bit ignorant to what issues this may cause for other people, but seeing as it is, what if, right, just putting it out there, Epic make it free to play on Epic Store from when they buy it? What's the big problem there? I could see that being a good move for them. Yeah,
that could totally work, because then they can monetize, because you can get extra cars and stuff.
Yeah, microtransactions, all sorts of shit.
All that shitty nonsense we've seen before.
Yeah.
But I really think in Epic's hands, with their stake in esports, they are in a good position to boost the game, and that will be better for players. You can say that the Epic Store is anti-consumer, that's your opinion,
Yeah.
But this move, at the moment, seems, I can't say for sure until they do it, seems like it will be very beneficial to the Rocket League players.
Yeah.
And if you're not a Rocket League player, it literally means nothing to you.
Yeah, that's true. Other than it's not on Steam, where. Other than that, the other thing for me, that the question that it raises is, obviously they're using Fortnite money again to buy this. They're splashing the cash all over the place. They're Epic. Well, what's their next move? Are they buying? Is this their strategy for future? Are they going to become a huge publisher? Are they going to start buying up little studios?
They'll become
the next EA.
Or I was going to say the next Disney, because Disney own like every. They've basically packaged and priced your childhood, because they own everything now, and Epic. That could be their move, because it's worked really well for Disney.
There you go. So that's our views on the Rocket League going to Epic, or Psyonix getting bought by Epic. Let's move on quickly to our next point of discussion, which is Star Citizen. Now, this discussion is sourced from a Forbes article, which is actually in the May edition of the magazine. And the online version of the article is available now. And it's on Star Citizen and what's going on with the funding and all the behind the scenes and the development of the game and what situation it's in. And oh my God, is it quite damning?
And it's a long one.
It's a long one.
Not quite as long as a Jason Schreier expose, but it's pretty hefty.
I'm going to pick out some of what I said, and this is quoted like verbatim. Is that the right word? Like,
is that as it was written?
As it is. Yeah, that's it. That's the right word. Awesome. Okay, so the game is made by Cloud Imperium, which is the development studio, and Chris Roberts, who is first game fame with his early 90s hit Wing Commander, a space combat series that grossed over $400 million. So he had a huge hit in early 90s, and he's riding on that. Well, he's done numerous things since then, but he's not done anything gaming related as such. And this is his next big thing, right? So he's raised $288 million so far in funding this project, Star Citizen. It's the biggest crowdfunding project ever. Ever.
Yeah.
$288 million is a lot of money. You would think that is enough. However, most of the money is gone, according to Forbes, and the game is still far from finished. Okay, I'll read a big quote out here. At the end of 2017, for example, Roberts was down to just $14 million in the bank. He has since raised more money, and he did promise 100 star systems would ship with the game. He has not completed a single one. Now, this game's been developed from 2012, right? So he promised it would be ready in 2014. We're 5 years down the line. It's already 5 years late. He promised 100 star systems in the game. He hasn't completed a single one. And this is funny, right? So far, he has 2 mostly finished planets, 9 moons, and an asteroid.
Now, a star system has a lot of planets in it. Like,
to me, that doesn't seem like $288 million for 2 mostly finished planets, 9 moons, and an asteroid. Doesn't seem value for money.
Rock and roll.
All right. I'm doing it a little bit of a disservice there, because the game is coming up. They're producing the technology to be able to produce. What's it called? When it produces on its own, it's procedurally generated universes from then. So they've got the technologies so that when they build pretty much a planet or whatever, the system can do it itself from then on. So it's not going to take as long.
Yeah, once they've got one, they essentially copy and paste it.
And Forbes goes on to say, quote, "It is incompetence and mismanagement on a galactic scale." But
nice pun.
Right, goes on. Crowdfunding, in regards to crowdfunding, it's a Wild West territory, nearly free of regulators and rules. So, talking about the morality of how they're sourcing this money, and they came up with an ingenious way to keep raising funds. They would sell spaceships, hundreds and thousands of them. So far, Imperium has sold 135 different spaceship models for as much as $3,000 a piece. And last fall, so that's what they're doing now. That's how they've continued to raise money.
Yeah.
After the Kickstarter, it wasn't Kickstarter, was it? It was. It was something else. I think it was Kickstarter, but. Anyway, it's gone on since then, and they're still raising loads of money by selling ships, some of which are 135 of them, some of which are worth up to $3,000. It's a lot of money, and loads of people are throwing money into these ships, and they have been in trouble. They've been sued in the past, although it wasn't upheld, but it's like 24,000 worth of ships that one guy purchased from Cloud Imperium, because they didn't fulfill on the game and the game isn't ready or anything. He sued them, although he was unsuccessful, because in the small print you can get a refund for up to 30 days, and outside of that, you shit out of luck, basically. Because
you can play, I'm hesitant to call, say, the game. You can play whatever Star Citizen is in alpha.
Yes,
not in beta, but it's in alpha. But paying that much for ships, it's insane to me.
It's incredulous. However, Forbes spoke to 20 people who used to work at Cloud Imperium, many of whom depict Roberts as a micromanager and poor steward of resources. They described the work environment as chaotic. And one of them, Mark Day, a producer on Wing Commander, whose company was contracted to work on Star Citizen in 2013 and 2014. So he's worked with Chris Roberts in the past on Wing Commander as well as Star Citizen a few years ago. And he's quoted as saying, "As the money rolled in, what I considered to be some of Roberts' old habits popped up, not being super focused. It had got out of hand, in my opinion. The promises being made, call it feature creep, call it whatever it is. Now we can do this, now we can do that. I was shocked." So just first-hand testimony of somebody who's worked with Roberts within the company, saying that he's shocked at all the feature creep and the things that Roberts has been. And there was other claims in the article as well that he micromanages everything. So like one character artist took 17 months to make 5 characters or something, because Chris Roberts okayed the models but then went back and decided he didn't like them, and it seems like Chris Roberts might have his finger in too many pies when it comes to this, and that's maybe why it's delayed so long, because he's trying to okay absolutely everything, whereas shouldn't he have like deputies to do all that sort of shit?
Like, this is why you have like project managers and stuff to oversee things, because if the creative head is just running everything, it doesn't work, because he's obviously like just being overly ambitious. I mean, the parts of the article said that he spent ages focusing on getting the shields of a ship to look just right, when that's not a top priority. Like, I mean, it's cool, but you need to be allocating your funds elsewhere, and it just seems like his head's not in the right place. Yeah,
and just to go on to finish what I've got written here, for the first time in its history, last fall, which is autumn if you are, not outside of America, Cloud Imperium received $46 million investment from Clive Calder, a South African billionaire behind Jive Records, and his son Keith. So that's the first private investment that they had outside of crowdfunding. And the funds were meant for what else? More marketing. So they're not going to use that $46 million on making more game. They're going to use that $46 million on trying to sell more ships to get more money than to make more game.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem like us about a tit way of doing it?
Yeah, so you've got $46 million. Should we make the game with it? No. We'll spend it on marketing and make $35 million in ship sales to make more game.
This is according to Forbes. This is Forbes saying this, not us, right? So also, last year, Cloud Imperium released financials that showed its biggest expense was annual salaries of $30 million annually, just to pay the bills, just to pay the people salaries, right? Outside of everything else that they pay for.
They've got like, 500 and something staff in like several different offices.
Yeah, so there's a lot of outgoings. They didn't say in the financials how much Chris Roberts himself gets paid, or his wife, who is the one of the project leaders. She's the marketing.
She's
lady.
Head of marketing.
And his son works with him too.
There was a weird bit in the article where his previous wife, she was in their house, and then the new one, before she was his wife, breaks in or something, and then there's a restraining order that they were all denying.
It's personal territory, but what essentially Forbes makes out is that his current wife used to stalk him and his ex-wife before he was divorced. She got a restraining order, which was terminated at some point, but after splitting with his wife, he got with the stalker. That's the way the Forbes frame it. Yeah. It's probably not true.
Oh, and
I'm not saying that's true ourselves.
Key thing, so Chris Roberts and the new wife were married before. Like, they had to remarry because it says that they had an annulment. So they were married, probably a Vegas fling.
Wow.
Come back to normality. He's hanging out with his wife and child. The Vegas stripper wife comes in and is going crazy.
I don't know what story I'm more interested in, that one or the Star Citizen one, to be honest.
I want to see a documentary of this. Forget Squadron 42.
That's awesome. So there you have it. That's, there's a lot more in the article. You can go and check out for yourselves if you're interested in reading the whole thing. It's not as big as a Jason Schreier expose on Anthem type length, but it's still a good 5-10 minute read. That's for sure. And it's interesting. If you are, I'm a backer of Star Citizen, I'll admit it. I'm interested in the Squadron 42, which is the single-player version of the game. I think it looks good. They've got some awesome actors in there. Mark Hamill. They've got Scully off, what's her name?
Gillian Anderson. Gary Oldman. Mark Strong. So many people in it, which again...
Andy Serkis did the motion capture for it.
Yeah, it was at his studio and all that.
So he's thrown loads of money into it. They're still on the treadmill trying to raise funds to get the game finished 10 years down the line, pretty much. And where is it going to end?
He doesn't even know. Chris Roberts.
He can't guarantee. Hopefully they're going to get like a beta version of the Squadron 42 out by 2020. So they said that was initially promised in like 2014 or whatever. It's almost never ending. It seems like it might be throwing good money after bad, right? But the game looks impressive. From what you've seen and what they're bringing out, it does look impressive to a certain extent. So I'm not here trying to expose the game and trying to say that it's going to be a waste of money or whatever. I've obviously invested some personal finance of my own. I bought the base version of the game, $40 or whatever it was, and I'm hoping to get a complete game at the end of it. However, if I was faced with the decision now whether to invest based on this information, and Kotaku did an expose a few years ago, about 3 years ago as well, which was, kicked up a lot of shit for him at the time, I would have my doubts as to whether I believe this game will ship in the next 5 years. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a game now, 5 years before it gets...
Yeah.
Why didn't you just wait till it's ready?
Yeah.
Because the state that the game's in, it's a bit impressive, but it's literally just a tech tech demo, essentially. That's all it is. So you can't really play much of it. You can fly around the ship, you can have a bit of a gun battle and that, but it's not the open world that they think it is. Yeah. It's not a single-player campaign that they're promising either.
And there's plenty of conspiracy theories you could draw from this, like he's...
some sort of Ponzi scheme and shit.
Using it to put money in his own pocket. Because it's been seen before with Kickstarters and GoFundMes and stuff.
Well, the problem is they're burning through money so quickly. It raises obviously going to raise questions.
That just doesn't really matter. Shields are pretty cool, but you don't need some fancy effects and stuff. You need your game to run.
Yeah, get the game in working order and then polish it up. I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I didn't make a smash hit in the 90s worth $400 million. I'm no Chris Roberts.
But you also didn't try and then go into the movie industry and completely fuck that up as well.
There you go. That's just our hot off the breast take of Star Citizen. If you got any thoughts of your own, something we might have missed, obviously this is just Forbes' angle on it, and they're trying to get some clicks. So you could say this is just clickbait. This is the reality of the situation. I'd like for you to inform us if you think that it is different. We're here kind of neutral because I've invested money in this game, and from a personal level, I want to see it succeed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I don't want is for other people to get stung by this if it indeed is just a big scam. But
I just love watching that Squadron 42 trailer. Like that trailer alone, it's awesome.
So, on that note, should we move on to the podcast questions
from the old Discord.
These are the Discord questions put up by our Patreon supporters, and Patreon is such an important thing for us here at PGG because it helps us. It's basically the only reason why we're still operating here and generating content, because people go to Patreon and support us. So I'm getting notifications here with their personal funds in order to help us generate this content, and in return they get awesome rewards like access to the Patreon Discord, this podcast early, as well as a few other things. You can go and check that out, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, if you want access to the Discord, if you want the podcast early, and whatever else is there, and the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping support us bring you this content, because without you guys we could not do it.
And unlike Star Citizen, when you support us, we actually do give you content. You get stuff.
Content. Finished content on the day it was promised.
I mean, I can't tell you it's good quality, top tier content.
Pretty good. It's pretty good content.
It's what it is.
It's what it says on the tin. Right, let's move on. So the first question comes from Cloney. I'll read this one out. Too long, don't read, because it was a bit long and it wouldn't be good to read it. Blizzard banned people for using a specific launcher which is needed to modify textures in game. We're talking specifically
for World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. That only present to the user, not to the people. This launcher could apparently be used to cheat, and people who did not cheat were unbanned. Is it okay to ban people if they just want to mod textures on their own? Should we leave the creative vision of the direct developer alone? Or am I, as a service user, allowed to mod my personal and only that experience? So we're talking about World of Warcraft specifically, just to highlight the bit that we didn't read.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have. But
so they kind of went on a blanket ban of a load of mods on World of Warcraft intended to eliminate the people cheating, because some of the mods were altering your character's look so the hitboxes would change. So it makes it much more difficult to hit them in PvP. But they also ended up banning people just doing cosmetic stuff where and change the look of your character's armor, and it's only visible to you.
Yeah.
Other players in the game world can't see it.
Yeah, so people are using it innocently, people are using it nefariously, but they've banned everyone, but then they came back and unbanned people. And the question is it all right to ban people if they just want to mod textures on their own screen? The answer to that, is it okay? Well, there's two ways to look at this, right? There's the moral way and the legal way, right? Legally, they could ban them, but morally, it probably isn't right. You should just let people play the game as they want to play it. It's not going to make any difference to anybody else morally, right? But legally, if they want to go by the letter of the law, it's up to them how they do the T's and C's and stuff. If they don't want people modding the game, they're maybe entitled to do that.
Yeah.
So
if they've got it in their EULA thing that modding isn't allowed, they're well within their right to do that. And then they have to enforce that. I don't really think it's an important thing to put no modding, because the PC community is pretty synonymous with modding.
Of course, yeah.
to alter things, to customize your experience. So I think anything like that is a bit short-sighted of the community you're playing with.
Well, it turns out they have unbanned the people who have just modded the textures, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good in the end. But should they have a right to? I mean, personally, what I think, should they have a right to ban people for changing the textures? No, I don't think they should be able to do that. I think it's bullshit, right? You buy a product, you buy something, and you should have the right to do whatever you want with that. If you go in the files directory and change it, whatever. But then you go online and play it with other people, so long as it has no impact on other people, I'm fine with that, right? And they should just leave that alone. Whether it's legally, if it doesn't stand up legally or wherever, I don't care. I think that they should do the right thing, and it ends up that they have in this instance.
I think saying whether or not someone has the right to do something when it comes to gaming always kind of throws me off, because rights are the fundamental human rights, your right to be alive. I don't think you.
Well, it's legal in it. You have the legal right or the moral right.
Yeah,
because There's two ways.
Exactly. I don't ever think anyone has a right to play a game because it's something. It's optional. It's always optional. Once you buy it, then you have the right to be fulfilled as a consumer in terms of like having a full experience and being able to play that in the way you want.
Yeah, within the terms and conditions that you've agreed by buying the game, right? That's the legal.
And the developers and all that have the legal right to impose restrictions on what you can and can't do. Whether like however strict they are, that's up to them. I think modding's fine in a solo environment where it doesn't affect anything at all. If you want to dress your character in a skimpy little outfit, like there was a good little meme you put to accompany it where the character's bra armor, because everyone knows how practical bra armor is, was updated because it's an ancient game now.
Yeah.
To update the graphics and the textures to make it look
make the
more
cleavage
natural.
look a bit better.
Yeah, just like it just looks better. Objectively looks better. Why is that wrong? It isn't. But then the people who have done that sort of thing have now been unbanned.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't know. It's a complex one. It seems like it gets muddy when you're playing with other people online. But then, it's how you draw that line and how you impose the restrictions and stuff. It seems like it's all panned out. Yeah. I don't think legally, yes, they have a right. Morally, they probably shouldn't do it. They probably shouldn't impose it.
And when it comes to leaving the creative vision of the developer alone, you can still have the creative vision of the developer there as well as yours. And that's when it gets a bit confusing for me because rolling back to the Sekiro thing about easy modes, I think you should keep that because that is important to the message, and once you change that, it changes the message, blah, blah, blah. But here, because it's literally just a visual aesthetic, it doesn't change any of the meaning or anything like that, so it gets a bit complicated. But modding in single player is cool, modding in multiplayer, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Right, this is from Metal Shark. It's about modding again, actually. That's funny. If Days Gone came to PC and was moddable, or PlayStation just allowed modding, etc., with one member of PGG streaming a play session, what mods would the other member of PGG like to install to challenge, entertain, or troll them? So this is an interesting one. I don't know. So, right, let's say you're playing. What would I mod to happen to you? I think I'd just fill it with as many hordes as the game could handle without completely crashing and just wreck your shit.
Yeah, it would be cool to see like a whole horde of marauders versus a whole horde of freakers and just like let them battle out.
Just watch
and just stand on a mountain and just watch them go at each other. That would be pretty cool. Like epic battle simulator, wherever it is. Like that game. That'd be pretty cool.
Because I like character customization and stuff, I'd like mod in different outfits and shit. Like I saw one comment that was like 4 out of 10 can't turn the cap around, and I was like, yeah, I want to be able to spin it like Pokemon Ash in the show when he gets ready for a fight, spins his cap round. It means he means business.
There you go.
I think that they could do a few funny ones, like turn. Mod the bike into a horse or something like, or Thomas the Tank Engine, because everyone knows how popular Thomas is.
Mod the bike into a freaker, so you're
riding on a freaker's back.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or
mod the freakers to look like whites from
Game of Thrones. That would be pretty cool. You could mod the whole game to be Game of Thrones.
Yeah, just take away the guns and just have melee weapons. Yeah, and mod them so they look like medieval, so they're battle axes and broadswords and stuff.
That would be cool. That would be a really good mod. Outside of that,
I don't know.
I think being a freaker and taking on that'd be too difficult, and
a horde of the bears, really big bears. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that answers your question. The possibilities are almost endless. Let us know what you would do to the game in order to entertain, challenge, or troll us. Next up, Lochka. Was this actually Lochka? It wasn't DK.
Yeah, you're taking over DK's position.
Stepping on DK's toes here. Fuck one, kill one, marry one. I don't. Okay, I'll say it. I'll just say the question. Gordon Freeman, Corvo Attano, or Doom Guy? Okay, that is the question. I want to hear your answer for.
I saw a couple of people talking about this in the thing, and I'm on the same page. So Gordon Freeman, he's the bloke from Half-Life, if I remember correctly. Corvo Attano is the guy from Dishonored. And Doom Guy is the bloke from Doom, obviously.
Doom Guy.
And if you hadn't noticed, these ones are all gentlemen.
Male. Yeah.
So I reckon kill, assuming I don't have to like fight to kill them and I can just eliminate them.
Yeah.
Kill Doom Guy, because I don't want to go near him. He's way too brutal. Like if you're unfortunate enough to be made to fuck him, he's going to wreck your shit. And if you marry him, I mean, he doesn't speak. He's not going to say anything. You're going to have a really dull marriage. You're not going to be able to. You're just not going to be happy. You're not going to be emotionally satisfied, and physically you're going to be torn apart. Not for me. So kill Doom Guy. I don't really.
Who would you marry and who would you fuck? Come on, Henry.
Oh, I don't know.
Embrace your homosexuality.
Well, this is So Gordon Freeman, because he's in Half-Life. I haven't finished Half-Life. I played it years ago. I played a little bit because he's a scientist, right?
Yes.
Is he wealthy? Because Corvo isn't. He's like essentially a guard, just a really good guard. So I don't think he really earns money. But then in the second one, he becomes like the Queen's aide and her advisor. So that's pretty cool. I'll say fuck Corvo and marry Gordon Freeman because he's a scientist, so he's probably going to be a better homemaker.
Yeah.
And Corvo,
there you go.
He's got the mask, so he's obviously into some funky shit.
I mean, that's a fair answer. I'm not going to take that away from you, Henry.
Why aren't you stepping up to the plate?
Well,
Lochgar is going to be let down.
Well, the problem for me is that I'm not actually homosexual or that way inclined at all. I have no inclination.
It's just banter in it. It's just a laugh.
Yeah, maybe
no.
I'm not as. I just don't know how to begin thinking about the answer. Never mind answering it. I can't fathom many thoughts. Like the three dudes. So, I can't even entertain.
You don't have choice in the matter. Like you don't have to make love to them. You're fucking one. Whether or not you like it in the hypothetical scenario.
I'm not, Henry.
But that's just not fun. It's boring.
Well, you've got your idea of fun. I've got my idea of fun. I'm sorry, Lochgar. Pick some birds and I'll give you an answer. Those three dudes are not getting even thought about in my head in that way. Sorry.
Lame.
Let's move on.
Gaboris.
God, this is a big one. Oh, I got one that's not a conspiracy theory for once. A bit of a lead up, okay? Not long ago, a dungeon crawler RPG called Operancia The Stolen Sun was released. That got me really excited. Not because of its genre, since even though I like crawler games, I'm not interested in them. But this one was made by a Hungarian dev who's based most of the game's lore on Hungarian folklore and did not compromise characters and monsters' names by localizing them, which is a truly rare thing for us. I had similar reactions to games like Heroes of the Might and Magic 6, where the game wasn't the best, but made by Hungarians and used on names, or Halo Reach that I never even played, but loved looking up stuff about it, since that crucial location in Halo lore was set on a Hungarian colony with locations and people once again named accordingly. My question is,
commas.
Have you ever had a similar experience where the game setting caught your attention, not because it was foreign or exotic, but because it was closely relatable and something you could point at and finally say, yes, And finally say, I did the S in, that's something I know by heart, but others don't. For example, any game set in Wales or even just Great Britain, like the new Pokemon games, even if you don't care for the franchise. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. There was Game of Thrones Britannia, right? We could play as the Welsh, and like Clwyd, which is this kind of, it's Denbighshire because we're English, right? Denbighshire, you have to have a shire, right? But Clwyd is the county if you're kind of Welsh and traditional weather. But I had Clwyd in there and I had Denbigh in there, which is where I'm from or where I live, and it was awesome because you could like raise an army from Denbigh and you could go out and kill the English. Woo! It was
finally be on the
unite Wales and then go out and finally put right what once went wrong in the if you know that.
Yeah, well, because I'm southern and pretty close to London, and so much British history is set in London. I really enjoyed playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate because that was set in London. That's like the main reason I enjoyed that game. Because I really liked being in that world with like Big Ben and just having the Thames with that iconic meander in
EastEnders.
EastEnders with
loop.
the docks in the middle. The
EastEnders loop. I mean, what?
The EastEnders loop. Yeah. I did think of another one, but it's just gone. Well, normally in video games, if it's set kind of from like around the 1800s, there's a pompous British baddie, like or Assassin's Creed 3, for example, because that's during the revolution, I think, American Revolution, against the tyrannical British leaders, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my team. We're the bad guys. We're the pompous southern Englishmen.
Makes sense.
Like, what's the bad guy? Samuel Adams. He basically speaks like me, and then Connor wrecks his shit. I quite like it when the British are the bad guys, because when you learn
all
about
the time, you mean?
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. In history in school, you learn that your history is the best history. You're the heroes. But then when you actually learn about it for yourself, you're like, man, colonial Brits did some really messed up shit. They really did some bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree
you did
with
some
that.
bad stuff.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
But it's nothing to do with me. Don't hold me accountable for what my ancestors did. It's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones, when fucking Daenerys is having a go at Jon about your grandfather swore an oath or whatever.
Yeah, well, I didn't fucking say
Yes, I don't fucking do it.
No.
And it's like, your father was the Mad King. And then she's like, don't hold me accountable. You were just doing it to him. Sorry, that scene really annoyed me.
Okay, so there you go. That is hopefully your question answered, Gaboris. That is the extent of our questions today on
just
the
a few
Discord.
today.
Only a few. A couple of really long ones, but we got through them in the end. Good questions, guys. Thanks very much. And try and... Oh, actually, there was 4 questions there, right? So more next week, please. And a little bit more concise, if you don't mind. It just makes it a little bit easier.
No time for these paragraphs. Although, put in your long one and then throw in the TLDR, because that
helps
make it better.
So let's move on to the YouTube comments, which we kind of overlooked last week.
Yeah, we just
didn't get there.
Kind
we
of
ran
forgot.
out of time, let's be honest. We had a lot of...
A lot on our plate.
Yeah, there's a lot of time last week. I've got a couple, right? So it's primarily been Days Gone this week, the content that we produced. You produced the video on Monday about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. That wasn't very interesting, but...
It wasn't very interesting. It was pretty good, but it wasn't that good.
Well, I did it because I was like, I don't know what to say about it, because I was kind of thinking of doing a full review, but then I was like, well, I've got Days Gone this week, which I want to play, and I don't think I'm going to have time, so I just did an impressions thing.
Well,
so it was much
is
smaller.
it good for noobs? Is a good question that people are going to ask. We did the roundup on Tuesday, which was the Days Gone broke records. Yesterday, which is Wednesday at the time of recording, today is Thursday, we did the impressions on Days Gone. So it's mainly been Days Gone related stuff. So the first question comes from that video from yesterday, which is our impressions of Days Gone. So this comment comes from Matthew H, quite a long one. Days Gone is showing just how fucking useless games journalists really are and why they are cancer in the industry. Bit far. Days Gone is basically middle of the road, and it's fucking amazing. Middle of the road game. You don't need a big fuck off Hollywood set pieces or actors or live service bullshit. Just a man, his bike, and a shit ton of people that need their brains smeared on the ground. It's basic fucking gameplay that isn't weighed down with epic plots or set pieces. No cosmetic microtransaction, loot box grinding bullshit. I'd give Days Gone a 10 out of 10 just for showing the world that 7 out of 10 game can still be an amazing experience which when it embraces its mediocrity. I think that's why I chose this one. I'd give it a 10 out of 10 for showing the world that 7 out of 10 can be amazing for embracing its mediocrity.
Well, I think what he's trying to say is that it's no frills, it's no fluff, it's no constant.
It's a basic, honest game. It's an honest.
It knows it's
game.
a game, and it's just trying to be fun, and you can tell the writers really cared, and they put it together with care. I mean, there's plenty of glitches in it, which is a problem. A lot of them have been fixed now, but there's still launching with that. Many glitches is an issue. But in terms of crafting the world and the way everything looks and the story, they obviously cared about it.
Well, one thing we didn't even mention in the video that we produced was the lack of microtransactions, a single player, pay for what you get. Honest story. And I think that in terms of, it gets a lot of credit for me for that, because the AAA industry these days is so full of bullshit, right? And there's not many games that come out like this, especially not games that are gritty and atmospheric and have got an aesthetic that I like to it. You talk about Super Mario, we talk about Mario Odyssey, whatever, getting 10s. You talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild getting 10s, and all those cartoony games that critics just lap up because it's fun, it's awesome. There's not enough of these gritty type of games, the Last of Us type of games, Days Gone type of games, where it's a real struggle and it's a hard world to live in, and it's just like gritty. Right, there's not enough of those types of games. For people like me, who's of the old generation of gamers, you could say, this is few and far between, and this is one of the reasons why I like this game, because for me, there's not enough games like this, right? It's open world, it's generic, blah, 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 blah. Maybe generic for you when you play all the other shitty games, right? I don't play the shitty games. I play the good games.
No time for
Get off my high horse now, but It serves credit for other reasons than we outlined in the video yesterday, but I think it's because it's an honest game that it's on my good side. It's an honest, gritty game, and it fulfills a part of that's underrepresented in the industry, which is that type of game. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, so I got one here which really made me chuckle perhaps a bit more than it should have. And this was on our news roundup for Tuesday, which was headed with Days Gone selling really well, being like the fastest selling game of the year on anything, not just PlayStation. This is from Dave VD. Meh, not bad at all. I guess there's some life in zombies yet. I'll let myself out now.
Dave VD.
It's just such a...
It's awesome.
Such a piece of shit joke, but I laughed more than I should have.
On that roundup video again, Geordie Monkey, right? Too bitter and angry, not fun. Talking about us, right? I am unhappily unsubscribing. Please bring back the fun. Okay, I read that and I thought, what the fuck video did he watch? Is he commenting on the wrong video? That video literally opens up with me slapping my face like this.
I was so happy with that.
That was good. I've got to hand it to you.
Because that is right at the beginning.
You never choose yourself to be the object of the...
No, of course not.
Fun, yeah.
If I'm putting the work in, I know.
You're going to ridicule me, goddammit.
Because that was right at the beginning before we'd started properly, the cameras were rolling, but we hadn't started reading or anything. And as soon as I saw it playing back, I'm like, oh, there's my first outtake going at the end. But... It was so short and perfect. I was chuffed.
Unhappily unsubscribing. Please bring back the fun. If you don't like that video was very fun. There's a lot of funny moments in that video, right?
That was positive.
A bit of banter.
Days Gone doing really well.
Yeah. Bitter and angry and not fun. I mean, if that's your interpretation of this video, then our videos aren't for you, and you're probably better off in subscribing. And do it with a smile on your face, and you don't have to be unhappy about it. It's fine, right? However, I would completely, I would not accept that it wasn't fun and it was too angry and bitter. I think you just maybe, I don't know. I don't know what he's reading into what we're saying, but we definitely don't make videos and like that. That's for sure. So buck your ideas up, Geordie Monkey.
Okay, I knew this would trigger someone, and it's absolutely why I did it. It's on my Mortal Kombat video. It's pronounced Raiden. Towers of Time is a good single-player mode for you. And then there's a comment back. This needs to be up so he knows and apologizes. Apology. I'm not apologizing because I deliberately did it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, caught saying Raiden. Because I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan, and that's part of the point of the video.
So you're going to mispronounce all the names?
I could have Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but it's because I played Metal Gear fan, and the character with the same name, Raiden, is pronounced Raiden. So that's how I've always said it and read it, because that's how I was quote unquote taught it.
Gotcha.
And then, but for some reason in Mortal Kombat it's Raiden, and it confuses me because Raiden, I think of it like samurai. It's not samurai, it's samurai, and he basically is a samurai. He's like a ninja. He's got a sword and shit. And Raiden in Mortal Kombat is, he's kind of like a samurai as well. It's a bit different, but so I feel like it should be Raiden. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to keep calling him Raiden and see how many people I really wind up. And evidently this person was
enough.
He was a little bit. It wasn't that upset. It was more education. It was just, it's pronounced Raiden with a few dots. Then the follow-up is what really got me. Needs to be up so he knows that apologizes. Apologizes.
Well, apologies right now, please.
No.
Okay, fair enough. So Daniel Norup, Creek's Echo. Talking about Days Gone, easily one of the best games this year. The reviewers got it completely wrong. That's kind of nice, because we didn't, we thought about the game. We played the game for a while. We thought about it, and it's like the 772 just seemed like it just wasn't making sense to me. There was something I'd missed about it, right? And for me to come out and talk about it like I did in the video, and you concurred with me, and we felt the same. It's like, this game is better than it's being depicted in the media. And for people to come out and say, I've played the game, I love the game too, and that's one of many comments that say the same thing. It's just a straight up honest game, and it's enjoyable, it's fun. And I think this is what a large portion of the reviewers miss, right? They're playing the game on a technical level. It's like, how good is this part? How good is that part? Like, how well is the voice acting? How deep is the world? How this and that? And they miss the entire picture of how much fun you can have playing this. And that's what you need to do as a reviewer. Get that message across to players. If you enjoy having fun in games in these ways, this is the game for you. This is how the game will let you have fun. And if you're the kind of person to have fun in that way, then this is the game for you. That's all you need to say in a review. That is literally it. You don't need to say, like, well, okay, maybe you do. You need to highlight technical issues and shit like that. But to say that, the male white protagonist just is just boring, isn't it? It's just so awful on this bike aesthetic. God, what a waste of time. That's just your opinion, and the people reading your reviews not everyone's gonna identify with that. So stop tarnishing your review with your shitty opinions.
The thing is, most people aren't saying it's an absolute 10 out of 10 perfect game. And it's not. It's got plenty of problems.
I don't think anyone said it was a 10 out of 10.
Exactly. It's got its fair share of bugs, which a lot have been fixed, but again, that shouldn't have been the case, and it's not acceptable. But I think a lot of people not even overhyped themselves, but expected too much from, because Sony's track record's been pretty great recently. God of War, Spider-Man, really, really good. And I think the level, like, Spider-Man's not as deep as a lot of people. I don't think it's as deep as a lot of people would think it is. It's just a solid superhero game. God of War, proper deep story, meaningful, because interactions between characters and shit, really, really high quality. And I think people expected something to be Days Gone to be like this super touching, emotional story. And I think it was a GameSpot reviewer. She reviewed it really harshly and has got
5 out of 10.
Yeah, she got a lot of flack for it, which some of it I don't think is fair because it's her opinion. She's allowed to have an opinion. I just disagree with it. And a lot of it was that there wasn't a commentary on what he's doing. Like, he kills people and they don't show him crying about it. But we even said in that cutscene near the beginning when he kills someone and he's like
visibly distraught.
Yeah, exactly. He's uncomfortable, and that is there. But also, not every game needs to. Like, he's 2 years on from that point, because that's at the very beginning of the outbreak, and then the game starts about 2 years on. Yeah. So he will have gotten more used to it.
Now, I'm going to say something that might be a little bit controversial, right, for sensitive types. But hear me out, right? What I think maybe is that Deacon's just too manly, and I think there's a narrative in the media and on social media and stuff like that, and reviews, whatever, that being manly is toxic, right? This
inherently
toxic masculinity is this big thing that's going around, right? So the fact that these women who might feel that men are just toxic people being made to play a masculine man in a way that maybe they didn't want to because they've just been paid to generate this view. Maybe that's just pissed them off to the point where they're like, well, this guy, all he does is shoot people in the face, and whereas normally it would be all right if he wasn't so masculine and so much of a dude kind of guy. And she's completely missed the fact that he did struggle with doing some of the things that he did on a moral level. I mean, that's the only reason I can think, toxic masculinity is a thing, and it's a Gillette advert and all that shit. Like, oh, men are just toxic. It's just how it is, right?
Like, I do think,
come on,
it's a very progressive kind of liberalist concept, toxic masculinity, and I do think there is such a thing as it, but it's been misappropriated. So many people think masculinity is inherently toxic. My definition of it would be the man doing things that he considers he's doing them because they are manly to the detriment of himself, like not addressing, like, because men are known to not be as talkative about like emotional problems and shit,
emotionally open,
and that often leads to a lot of depression and shit. That sort of thing, I think, that's, you're doing it because it's masculine and it's affecting you negatively, so that is toxic. But masculinity itself isn't inherently toxic, which is, I think, where a lot of people get it wrong. I think that's what the narrative is now. People, toxic masculinity, it's like masculinity is toxic. That's the label they've attributed to masculinity. It's toxic, right? To be a man and to be manly is toxic, and it defies belief, but that's how some people think. It's like, what, we're not, so kids scrapping in the playground like they do in the Gillette advert, that's toxic? It's just boys, right? Isn't that just boys? Play fighting.
We're going very political now, and we've deviated far from. I don't know. I don't want to get into that territory because it's
a bit too much.
It's more trouble than it's worth. And to be honest, it's not really. It's not really important when it comes to games. But I don't know. Touching on that, maybe that's how. I mean, if Joel was the protagonist in this thing, and if Last of Us was maybe published today rather than when it was, do you think Joel might have got a rougher ride?
Yeah, they'd say Ellie's really cool, but Joel sucks.
Yeah, because
Joel does some horrible things to people.
He's a fucking horrible bastard, but he's hard as nails and he's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And he has to survive, right?
Spoiler alert, the ending is bad. Like, I don't mean bad quality, I mean it's morally.
Oh, yeah. It's questionable, that's right, yeah.
Like, he's doing something that is very, like, seriously, like, what? Without trying to get into too much, because he's not a good guy, or is he? That's what makes him interesting.
Yeah,
Dear, oh dear.
I don't know. The world's gone crazy, and we have too. So that is all I have for in terms of comments. Do you have any
I did
more?
have one, but I've just lost it. I'll see if I can quickly snack. Oh, here we go. It is on the... Which video is it? Oh, yeah. Yes, the one... Is it as bad as people say? You've got generally unpopular opinions about Red Dead in terms of critic reception and all that, because you're not as hot on it as a lot of people. Someone got very upset in that video because you said the shooting wasn't great. And
I triggered somebody.
Yeah.
No.
Offense Lion has been offended. Offense Lion TV. Don't think it's more detailed than Red Dead 2 though. Oh, there's 3 comments in a row. Don't think it's more detailed than Red Dead 2 though. You can make your horse in RDR2. Just never let your horse die, and it's not that hard. Shooting in RDR2 isn't fun, really. Have you played that shit? I find it really satisfying. So, there's lots to unpack here.
Yeah, I don't think that we did say that it was more detailed than Red Dead Redemption 2.
No,
so
you're putting words in my mouth. What I said was this location, because in my experience, I've not played an open world game in Oregon. I've never been to Oregon. Based on this game, I'd like to go, hopefully without the zombies, because it's really pretty. There's forests and mountains. It's really rural and nice and cool.
It's a great
never
location.
said anything about that in Red Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Red Dead has set in a different setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Make
a bit about the horse.
Make your own horse. I mean, the point of that is that you have one consistent bike, which is your bike. You can customize it. Horse customization I mean, you can't really customize a horse that much in the real world anyway, because it's a horse. Yeah. It's a living creature.
Sorry to jump in here, right? But if you replaced the horse in Red Dead with the bike in Days Gone, I would play that shit forever, because the horse is one of the biggest problem for me in Red Dead, because it takes so long to get from A to B.
Yeah.
Give me a bike, man. Get me there quick. Let me fast travel.
Fast travel.
All right, I'll find the fuel. I don't mind. I'll go looking for fuel.
Go get hay for the horse, and I'll fast travel.
That could work.
There you go. Yeah, just never let your horse die. It's not that hard. I mean, I'm not saying the horse. I didn't feel sad when my horse died. First time, completely plummeted off a cliff. He died. I tumbled.
So what? Another horse? Does it still go slow?
And it didn't die. I had to finish the poor guy off. But the point is, you can just buy a new one.
Exactly.
And you can whistle, and it'll be there.
There you go.
The bike, you got to go and get it. Which I think is a really good idea, because it means you have to tactically park it. Like, you go into an area, I'll spin it round so I can make a quick getaway. Then shooting in RDR2 isn't fun, really. Have you played that shit? I find it really satisfying. Now that's just completely a matter of opinion.
Exactly.
So, poor guy.
Said, what? I'm not allowed to have my opinion about the game. What you find something fun, so I must find it fun. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, dude? Hopefully not. Hopefully you're not talking shit to that extent, and that I must like everything that you like just because that way. If that was the case, then the world would be so boring and bland, because everyone would be listening to the same music.
Just like the Days Gone
wearing
world,
the
right?
same clothes.
Boring and bland.
Exactly. Everyone will be Days Gone. But there you go. That is the end of the podcast for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back next week with another podcast. Again, if you want to support us on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and check out what the rewards you can get in return for supporting us, bringing you this content on YouTube and wherever else you listen to this podcast. That is it for now from myself and Henry over here. We will see you again next one. Until then, bye for now.